Welcome to the deep dive. Have you ever stopped to think if religion is still truly necessary in our world today?
It's a big question for sure.
It is, and we're diving into a really interesting book that tackles it head on. Unchained from Religion: Why Religion is No Longer Necessary in the Modern World by Shahram Alae.
Yeah, it's a bold title, definitely catches your eye. But Alae isn't trying to, dismiss God or spirituality altogether.
Right.
He's looking closely at whether those traditional religious structures, the institutions, are still essential for finding meaning, finding purpose in, modern life.
And he starts with a powerful dedication, doesn't he, to victims of religious conflict. It sets a certain tone, a call to question dogma.
Absolutely. So our mission today is really to unpack the core arguments in the book, why the author feels religion's necessity might be fading for a lot of people.
Okay, let's get into it. First up, science and technology. This feels like a big piece of his argument.
It really is.
Yeah.
The book argues that, scientific breakthroughs offer explanations now for things, things that maybe only religion explained before. Think evolution, the Big Bang.
So the why questions.
Exactly. Science provides alternative answers for how the natural world works, which can sort of lessen the reliance on purely religious interpretations.
And it's not just the big cosmic stuff, right? He talks about the internet, too.
Oh, absolutely. The internet, social media, they offer totally new ways to connect with people, to find information, build communities, all outside of traditional religious settings.
It decentralizes things, you could say. Information, connection. It's not just coming from one central religious authority anymore.
Precisely. And Alae points out how this kind of empowers people. You can explore different ideas, build your own system of meaning, maybe pull from various sources, not just one doctrine.
Which leads nicely into the next big theme: personal autonomy. Modern society places a huge value on individual freedom, doesn't it?
It does. And the book explores how that focus on freedom can sometimes clash with religious institutions. Some people see them as restrictive, maybe their doctrines feel a bit outdated, or just not relevant to their lives now.
So people are looking to define meaning for themselves without needing that external religious authority telling them what to believe or how to live.
That's a key part of it. This emphasis on self-direction means many feel capable of figuring out their own values, their own purpose. They question that traditional authority.
The book doesn't shy away from the darker side either, the history of religious conflict.
No, it confronts it directly, looking at historical examples, but also, ongoing conflicts today that have religious dimensions.
And the argument there is?
Well, the argument is that these conflicts make it harder to see religion purely as a force for unity and peace. It makes people question, is this framework really necessary if it can lead to such division?
But it's not all negative. The book talks about the rise of secular ethics, which sounds quite optimistic.
Yeah, it presents it as a really viable alternative. The idea that you can build a strong moral foundation using reason, empathy, basic human compassion without needing religious rules or texts.
So a moral compass derived from shared human values rather than divine command.
Exactly. Alae makes a pretty compelling case for it, suggesting that ethical living doesn't require dogma.
Okay, so if people are moving away from traditional religion, where are they finding that sense of belonging, that community aspect?
That's another interesting area the book explores. Think social clubs, online forums based on shared interests, volunteer groups, and of course the whole spiritual but not religious idea.
Right, that seems huge these days.
It is. People are finding connection and shared purpose in these sort of secular spaces. And often these align quite well with those secular ethics we just talked about, respecting individual autonomy while still fostering community.
Does the author acknowledge the good things religion has done historically?
Oh, definitely. The book gives credit where it's due social support networks, inspiration for art, providing moral frameworks in the past. But it also highlights how secular systems, governments, nonprofits, community groups are increasingly stepping in to fulfill those same roles today. Social safety nets, ethical guidance, community building. It's not solely the domain of religion anymore.
So, summarizing the core message, it seems to be that while religion was undeniably influential, its actual necessity is decreasing in our modern world.
That's the crux of it. A world shaped by science, by a focus on individual freedom, by robust secular ethics, and by these new ways of forming communities and finding spiritual meaning.
And it feels like the book presents this shift in a pretty positive light, doesn't it? As something potentially liberating.
I'd say so. It offers quite a hopeful perspective, really. It emphasizes the freedom and inclusivity that can come from finding meaning and building ethical lives outside of those traditional religious molds. It's about critical thinking, compassion.
Yeah, a really empowering vision.
It encourages you to think about building a world based on those shared human values.
Absolutely. Well, if this deep dive has got you thinking and you're intrigued by this perspective, we really do recommend checking out the book. It's Unchained from Religion by Shahram Alae.
It's a very well-reasoned, thoughtful exploration of these big ideas. Definitely worth reading if you're interested in how society is evolving.
Couldn't agree more. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.